I am Feel It.
And I am Fix It. And we talk about life.
And stuff and things.
With the occasional rant.
Which you will have no problem doing.
Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good night. Whatever it is, wherever you are, we hope you're having a good one.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes.
It's beautiful outside.
It is nice and bright out.
It's cold.
It's cold, but things are melting.
And I am super blah.
Yeah, I'm
Very blah.
I can relate.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of in a mood. Not entirely why. Just
blah.
nah. Yep, pretty much.
I feel that.
The random coughing isn't helping, and it's not helping the mood.
You caught the plague.
Yep.
Whatever plague that is.
Yeah, not sure.
I was spared thus far, as well as one of our children.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the oldest? I don't know. Did we reference the plague last week? I don't know. But,
I don't know.
Yeah.
She's
better
not having,
than you were.
Yeah. I had about a day and a half that I was just, not good. But I did my usual. I'm gonna go to bed, and I layered on a bunch of clothes and turned on the heating pad and the heated mattress, so my side of the bed was really toasty. Then I laid down, turned that heater off, and proceeded to sweat through my clothes like 3 times in the course of a day. And when I got up, I was much better.
Sweat it out.
Yep. I don't want pills. I don't want
Well, not everyone's that fortunate.
Well, most of the time, body creates a fever to burn out whatever it is that's making you sick. So anything you do that counteracts that fever is making you sicker longer. So I was like, yeah, you know what? My body aches, and it felt terrible. I was like, crap hurt. I was, that kind of, you were working out like super hard and heavy and then got into a car accident on the way home from the gym, kind of sore. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to get warm and I'm going to go to sleep, and I'm either going to feel better when I get up or I'm not. And if I don't, I'm going back to bed. After drinking a whole lot of water because I needed it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. But no. Now it's just, I've got this random cough that pops up for little to no reason. But, other than that, I'm pretty good. Our oldest is...
That was rough.
Yeah, she's
having a rough week.
She's having a rough week. Yep.
Much better.
Mm-hmm. She came upstairs, sat down in the recliner, and she proceeded to pass back out.
And that's better. That's just because she didn't sleep well, but...
Yeah.
Yes, 'tis the season.
'Tis the season. And again, she works at a library, and there's people and small children running through there all the time. And if you're going to be exposed, that's going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like worst would be daycare, and then like public school, and then like a public library. So I think those 3, that's your
next to a hospital.
Your plague hotspots. Yeah, but in the hospital, there's a lot
probably
of
disinfected. Better.
There's a lot of disinfectant involved, and a lot of soap, and a lot of daycare. You got kids snotting on each other, Public schools, same thing. You got kids sneezing on each other all the time. And in the
So
library,
yummy.
you got sick people wiping their snot on every surface. Oh, this book is really... oh, I'm not checking this one out. And they put it back on the shelf. It's like, you're going to get exposed to stuff. Because, sometimes people are
Gross.
nasty. Yeah.
You're funny.
But I'm
yes,
not wrong.
You're not wrong.
It's like, you can say I'm funny, you can say I'm mean, you can say whatever, but if you can't say I'm wrong,
Not wrong.
like,
Not wrong.
you might not like my delivery, but still not wrong.
But irregardless. Yes. And I didn't sleep long enough. I went to bed late. Not awake. So I'm very blah.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah,
it's the season of binging, right? So
to a point, yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
So it, on and off in the winter. What is there? I'm sorry, we're not outdoorsy, sportsy people. We're not go people.
If it involves snow, I'm probably not going to be interested.
So, with different people in the home, right? Like mainly our youngest that I binge with the most, but there's, been, White Collar, and then we finished Suits. I don't know why we didn't finish Suits. Started that last summer, I think.
No
I
idea.
don't know.
I think it was probably work, just got in the way.
I don't remember. We finished that. We were halfway through that and finished that, and then she's not interested in the new version, and that's fine. The LA one, that's fine.
I mean, it could be good, but spin-offs are
Yeah, whatever.
iffy.
The Good Cop, which sadly at Netflix only made it one season pre-COVID. So we still did it because it still looked funny.
Yeah, it's probably
It
not
was
coming
funny.
back.
It was good.
Yep.
No, I looked it up and there's no plan for it. Doesn't mean it won't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that got killed a long time ago. And I liked 1883. Was Yellowstone, right? And then the 1883, 1923. Well, 1923 is out now, so I got that right. Could keep up on that. And then we'd finished Yellowstone. So, and now Landman. Then now our oldest wanted to watch that.
Yeah.
You like Reacher,
Yeah.
Animal Control.
It's funny.
There's certain
Yeah.
ones that we'll sit down and watch. Night Court, Frasier, New Frasier.
Yep.
Just, shows, because we're not outdoorsy people. It's kind of my evening and weekend thing.
Yeah, no, I like the outdoors. I don't, if it involves snow, I'm not interested.
If I'm not working, which
Yeah,
I work
just
a lot of
nothing
evenings,
interested.
but
Yep.
yeah. So last night, long story short, up way too late.
Yeah.
Up till like 1 a.m, finishing Landman.
Sure.
And then got up to watch church. So,
Mhm.
didn't even go in. Watched it. Haven't done a whole lot of anything productive that I should have done. Looking at doing that when we're done with this. But,
Yeah, I gotta do your nails.
oh yeah, you gotta do my nails.
Should probably do that first. Just get it done.
I guess so.
Because that can take a while.
The cat eye.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess.
That's more getting the old stuff off than putting the new stuff on that
That's
is
so
time
true.
consuming.
That's so true.
That is some durable stuff.
It's fun though, isn't it? I like this one. This holographic-y. Not holographic-y.
Yeah,
Like a
I mean, you could
Northern Lights.
kind of, yeah, it's
Ish.
the magnetic, well, it's just referred to as
I
cat
love
eye,
that.
but yeah, magnetic particles in the gel coat. You move it around and then you set it. And
But it reflects, kind of.
yep. Kind of get that, like, the tiger eye stone kind of effect on it.
Very pretty.
Yep.
Makes me happy.
It's pretty cool. It's interesting.
Now, all of that said, we're just very blah. And sorry we're a day late.
Yep. Well,
What happened yesterday? Oh, yeah, you fell asleep.
yeah. I was pooped.
You fell asleep and I let you.
Yeah, I was pooped.
Um,
It was a long night. It's been a long week. It wasn't horrible, but it was a long week, and then I'm not saying I'm 100%. I mean, it's like I'm 90%. But my energy level hasn't fully recovered yet either. So there's that.
Very understandable. So
That and had to get used to a new couch.
yes, we bought a new couch, and then we had to get rid of the old couch yesterday, and that was its own little saga. It wasn't that bad.
No.
It was a little multi-step saga, and
Mm-hmm.
then we got home, and you were just done.
Yeah, I was
So I
tired.
let you be just done.
I was tired.
It's fine.
I could have got up. I just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So, sorry it's late. We're okay.
Yep, we're good.
It's just been one of those weekends.
Mm-hmm.
Flew by.
Yeah, yesterday was one of those times where it's like, I've said off and on, it's like it'd be kind of nice to have a little trailer. But man, we really don't need it that often, so do I want to spend the money on it?
Oh, you mean
yeah, just like
a hauling trailer?
yeah, just a little hauling trailer. And yesterday was one of those occasions where, yep, it would have been really freaking handy to have a little trailer I could yank out of the back. And it is what it is. I mean, admittedly though, what was it, $15?
15, I think, yeah.
Yeah, it was like $15
For a
to
couple
rent
hours.
a 4x8 trailer for a couple hours. It was fine. It just
I didn't grow up taking furniture to landfills.
no, you took them to the tree line. And
My parents did. My father, more specifically, was they burned all the trash that they could.
mm-hmm.
Because I don't know the exact arrangement of it, but they had to pay for trash pickup.
Yep.
And I imagine it must have been per bag, or he wouldn't have cared about how much he was getting rid of, quote,
Probably.
naturally.
Probably.
And then if it was something that you had to deal with in that capacity, it just got hauled to the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I do remember the giant pits that we used to bury things in.
Yep. I mean, if we were there, I could take you right to where a bunch of the crap is just dumped.
Just dumped in the woods.
Yep.
But then, see, when I was growing up, and when I had to give the home back to the credit union, I remember very vividly drawing them the treasure map of where the things were, because, they needed to know the realtor, and just working with them and going through that process.
Yeah, the illegal septics.
The illegal septic tanks, the old trash pits.
Yep.
The dilapidated outbuildings.
Yep. Good times.
Yeah, good times.
Good times.
Good times.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did have that moment yesterday where I thought if my father had a grave, he'd be rolling over in it. That was not what he would have been. He would have been just screaming and shouting and yelling at you to find somebody's woods to dump it in.
Well, there's the park up the road. There's furniture there now.
That's from the homeless encampment.
Well, sure, but we'd still need the trailer to get it over there because that couch is heavy.
It was heavy. Oh my gosh. Never ever would my father have dreamed of paying, $50-ish to go deal with the disposal of a couch.
Yeah. Well, it was $15 for the trailer and $35 for the disposal fee. But it was going to cost that much it cost that much for a freaking tag from our local pickup.
Life in the city.
So.
Life in the city. That was yesterday. And that was why you were exhausted. And
Well, I worked. I worked like 9 hours. 9 hours and change yesterday at work. Then came home and we dealt with that. And then...
then you slept.
Then I fell asleep.
And I did like housework and laundry and dealt with things and watched TV with our oldest.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many hours we sat there. Too many.
It's been a while. It was a while.
It's
yeah,
okay.
but you need to, everybody needs that little bit of...
Oh my gosh.
You need some downtime once in a while. You need to just relax.
I had my downtime. It was good. But...
Yeah, anyway.
All of that said...
Sure.
When it came to picking out a topic, neither one of us was like,
Yeah,
we just got this thing that we got to talk about.
Okay. I'm going to let the dog out of the room while you continue with your thought.
Yeah, because she's being a dog. So there, I looked through some stuff, and went in line with the idea, of course, of the prompt that we tend to do. Yes, she changed her mind. Can't you tell? She's a girl. She's a girl.
She wanted out.
She did. She changed her mind. So I gave you some options, and you picked one. And I had, thoughts behind each one of them.
Sure.
But this one in particular, it's kind of a long one. So we'll just go with, the last half that matters. Well, no, we won't. Well, I gotta say the whole thing so we get the context. Now, every time, and I don't know what this is from, there is a name at the end of it and something else. So I'm not positive whom to give credit to for this, but it's just one of those, Pinterest prompts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, every time I witness a strong person, I want to know, what darkness did you conquer in your story? Mountains do not rise without earthquakes.
Sure.
I liked that.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, I saved it, right? Just kind of inspiring in the moment.
It kind of goes. I mean, it's parallel to the Rocky quote that you're very, very.
Rocky quote.
Yeah,
It's behind you on the wall. Rocky Balboa.
Yes.
The scene with the sun.
Yes.
Outside the restaurant.
Yep.
Everybody knows that speech.
Yeah, it's not how it. It's not about how hard you can get hit. It's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Yes. Yep.
And yeah, there's. And you could also kind of read between the lines on that one, and you probably should ask when you see somebody that's a little bit broken, like, what did you go through to get you there?
Yes.
You know.
Yes, it is that premise, actually, and that's the last part of it there. The mountains do not rise without earthquakes. That is the truth. And if you really look at the parallels all over in nature and all over in life, that is true. And those beautiful things can come out of tragedy. And I help walk people through those types of situations.
Well, and any kind of growth is going to have an aspect of pain to it. Because you can't grow into something new without losing the thing you were before. So I mean, even if it's not a traumatic thing that's spurring growth, you have to let go of the thing you were in order to grab a hold of the thing that you're going to be. Mm-hmm. You can't end up. You're never going to go to a new destination if you stay on the same path that took you to the old destination. And there's. And sometimes I think that just making that decision is the darkness you got to overcome. Is like it's the
it can be.
You've got. Well, you've said it. There's all kinds of loss, massive kinds of loss, and it's not just people or things or jobs. Sometimes it's you have to lose who you were so that you can find who you're supposed to be or who you can be.
And oftentimes, don't get me wrong, it's not every time, but oftentimes you run into somebody that might have a particularly prickly attitude.
Oh, sure.
And there's usually a reason for that.
Yep.
It's not just because they feel like being a crappy person.
No, usually it's... okay. And again, I'm only speaking from my own personal experiences, so we'll just, put that little asterisk there. But often that's defense. That's a way of being protected because they weren't prickly at one point in their life, or for a long period of time in their for a long period of time in their life, they were happy and pleasant individuals, and it burned them, and it burned them, and it burned them, and it got to the point where the burns hurt too much, so the defenses go up, and now they're prickly. Some people are just kind of prickly by nature.
Sure.
You don't have to be a snuggly happy person. Some people are just a little more prickly by nature, but there's a lot of people that they're prickly because the world taught them that. Or how kind of I heard addictions, the addiction, the substance that they're using isn't the problem. It was their solution to a problem.
Often.
The problem with that solution is how much harm it causes instead of fixing the problem. They're not dealing with the fundamental thing. They're dealing with, it's like they might not be able to control the fundamental thing that happened, but their addiction gives them the ability to keep going in spite of it. It's not fixing the problem, but it allows them to operate without it dragging them down. Problem is, it destroys them in the process. Well, and sometimes the prickly thing is the same thing. I mean, yeah, you look at people who have achieved a lot. You've got, I mean, well, if you look at, and I know there's some controversy in it, but the movie The Blind Side about Michael Oher. I mean, there was fictionalized aspects of that movie.
Yes. That's how movies make it.
Well, and more of it came out since then, that there was a lot of baloney.
Drama.
Yeah,
sure.
that was the premise it was based on had a lot of baloney flushed into it. But I'm not getting into that part. But you look at somebody like Michael Oher, who, if you look at the situation he came out of, he kind of in a literal sense, he was kind of a giant among men. I mean, he was a huge dude. But his attitude and his dedication and all of that, he could have been a very different person based on his background. He overcame huge issues. I mean, no dad, abandoned mom, lousy neighborhoods, gang activity all over the place. He was effectively homeless.
I know a secret. Never seen the movie.
It's not a bad movie. You're not fooling me again, puppy. You're going to sit your butt right there by that door and you're not moving anywhere. She's doing it again. Last time I got up, she just turned around and walked over to my seat. So, no.
Anyway.
The unofficial third character in the conversation.
Yes, came from badness.
Could have gone, and statistically should have gone, in a completely different place. I mean, could have ended up so much different than playing professional football and playing college ball and all of the things he was able to accomplish. Like, he's one of those that a mountain came from the earthquake rather than devastation. Of course, you look at the story and you hear his history. That earthquake was shaking for a really long time and should have.
Life was an earthquake.
Yeah, brought him down. It was like earthquake after earthquake after earthquake, nonstop, until somebody else brought some stability into his life, which he was very blessed for that opportunity. But you could see that with many, many other people throughout history, it's like nowadays we see a lot of people being famous for the sake of, because they're famous, or, hey, they're pretty, and they're, nobody's really interested. It's like, yes, I was born with really good facial features, and I was able to turn that into $1 billion industry. Yeah, who cares? Okay. What about the guy that came from nothing, or the gal that came from nothing? It's like, I created I found an opportunity, and I created all of this in the midst of the hellfire that is life. Like, those are much more interesting stories to me.
Well, if you think about the actual line, mountains do not rise without earthquakes. That's implying that the mountain is a good thing, because it's
Yeah.
every time I witness a strong person, I want to know.
Mm-hmm. Well, the mountain is only a problem for the person trying to get to the other side. But that obstacle that they have to overcome is what makes them strong enough to survive when they get to the other side. A lot of times the struggle that we want to avoid is what makes us capable of succeeding in the first place, or capable of enjoying the success when you finally get to it.
I may have some firsthand knowledge about that.
A little bit. See, okay, here's one for the really old school anime geeks that are out there.
Oh, man.
Okay. The original Dragon Ball. I don't remember which episode or storyline, but little bitty Goku with his flying, he had his little cumulus cloud that he rode on, and there was a dude who wanted to fight him, and he wanted to be strong enough to beat this guy, and he wasn't strong enough to beat the guy. And so he had to go to the top of this training tower, which was like ridiculous, like stratosphere height kind of tower. And he had to climb the exterior of the tower to get to the top. And the person he was fighting was doing the same thing. He was chasing him up the top of this thing. I don't know if it was at the same time or whatever, but when Goku got to the top, the master that was up there was like, okay, now you get to climb down. And like, what do you mean I got to climb down? It's like, what was the point of all of this? And then when the person that Goku was fighting got to the top, the guy gave him a ride down. So the guy had the easy way on the way back down. But the entire point was, by the hard trip, the difficulty in getting to the top and the difficulty in getting down made him strong enough to overcome. So when the other guy got down there, he got the free ride, he was no longer stronger. Goku had gotten stronger in the process of climbing up and climbing back down, and the other guy only got the strength from climbing up. He didn't get the other half. So, and like, yeah, it's a dumb little cartoon with a dude with a monkey tail that gets mad and turns blonde. It's weird. It's goofy. It's, admittedly, that didn't happen until much, much later. However, it doesn't matter. It's silly. But even in that goofy little show, it's like it was pointing out sometimes it's the struggle that makes you strong enough to overcome in the first place. It's like a person who, if your life is easy and everything's handed to you, it's like that's great
Good
to be in that.
You.
It's great for you. I mean, I'm not, it's like the point of a lot of what you do as a parent is to make it so your kids have it easier than you do.
Theoretically.
In some way. I'm not always financial, not always whatever, but, like, hey, I had to learn a lot of this crap the hard way. Please let me teach you so you don't have to.
I'd like to think we've done that, yes. Their adversity will be different.
Yes. Their adversity would be different, very much
different. It already
different.
has been.
But, and I think oftentimes it's very easy to take that too far. Your kids need to struggle. They need to fall flat on their face. They need to have some things to overcome. Otherwise, when life throws crap at them and you're not there to help, they're not strong enough to handle it on their own. But that's a hard thing to do sometimes. But it's we want them strong. I want them to survive.
I'll go with you there for a second.
I want them tough.
So we've talked about our youngest and some of the struggles she's been through already, just turning 19.
Yep.
with her
Yeah.
best friend.
Yes.
Maybe is just a different level now. I don't know. I
It's
guess
a
it's
very-
not mine to categorize.
No, and regardless, it's a very, when you're, I don't care who you are, at what stage in life you are, when your best bud is now a mother of two, your relationship has changed because their priority has changed
The
drastically.
Unwed teenage mother of two, sure.
Yeah. Well,
But
I don't, even if you're married and it's like she was married and in her mid-20s,
okay,
you got two kids, that relationship is drastically going to change.
absolutely, yes, this is true, and I can appreciate that from a few other personal levels. But my point in mentioning her is that there were some struggles she had to go through to gain strength.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We could not do that for her.
Nope.
She had to choose like what to do with the feelings and the thoughts and the experience and process that in a healthy way. Now, we did our best to help her do that in that healthy way, right? Not just put all those feelings in any old place. But that was her struggle. Right? And you wouldn't have thought you say the lies and deception. I mean, there were things we didn't know, and of course we didn't know, but until well after the fact. And the things that can be woven together for good, right? If that's how you choose to look at it. And as individuals of faith, that is how we choose to look at it. But that didn't make them less difficult in the process. And those things now are what will continue to make her a different, stronger person in many ways. Spiritually, relationally, she'll get there. She will get there. There will be a strength from it. But that's a process. It's a process to get to it. And it's her walk to have. It's not something that we can do for her. Now, when you were mentioning like the other side of that, how children can change things. Yes, I went through that with the pregnancy of my first child when I was, we were very close to some individuals that were having trouble with infertility. And my very unexpected pregnancy became a source of pain and contention and changed our relationship indefinitely. Invariably, I'm sorry, not indefinitely. Well, indefinitely, but invariably. It wasn't the same after that. And then it just dwindled away. And we had the second child even, but it was done before that. And then they'd adopted a son, who's really about the same age as our oldest, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, give or take. Yep.
But yeah, yep. Anyway, been on both sides of that.
He's got kids now.
Yeah, yep. What are you looking up there?
Nothing. Something just popped into my head, and I figured I'd give it a quick. Nothing
That's
important.
Usually how your brain works.
Yes.
Okay. Not anything to do with this.
Not at all.
Okay. Like I said, this particular quote can be taken different ways.
Sure.
So I wasn't sure where you would go with that. I mean, you're the one that chose it, so I wasn't sure if there was something specific
No, not
on your heart with that.
Not particularly. No. Just. I don't know, sometimes it's a good reminder to myself to not ignore there's more than just the surface, you know. People, I mean, it's a basic concept. People are the culmination of their experiences up to the point of right now. And sometimes it's easy to just go, oh, well, they're just a jerk. Like, okay, yeah, that's true. It's possible they might just be a jerk. Or it's like, yeah, that person's just an absolute sweetheart of a human being. But you don't know what brought them there. And sometimes you gotta, leave that door open to give grace despite the fact that you don't know what got them there. It's really easy to do when people are sweethearts, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy, he's currently in another building at work, and I worked with him at my previous job. And I've told people before, it's like, this guy calls, he needs a hand. He's never done it. He's never going to do it. But if he called, it's like, hey, I need a hand. You won't find me until he no longer needs a hand. He's just one of those guys. Like, if he knew you're in trouble, he's showing up. He's just showing up. So, well, especially at work. But I mean, and it wasn't like you had to call. He would, like, well, hey, it's quiet. And he'd go on and he'd search through the system and go, oh, look, they got a machine down and it's been down for a while and he's been on that thing for quite a bit. It's quiet here. I'm going to go see if he needs a hand. He'd just show up. And like, you know, this guy, and he does that for everybody. It's not like he's playing favorites. It's just, he's just that kind of guy. And I've said it many times, like, nope, he calls, I'm gone, period. Just, nope. Oh, you need help? Where are you at? What do I need to bring? That's it. I don't need anything beyond that. Where are you at and what do I need to bring? And then we've got an engineer who's kind of the same thing. He is he is a very gentle soul. And our entire department is, oh no, we take care of him. Like, no, he needs something. We stop what we're doing if we can, and we help him out. Because we are going to take care of him regardless. And I know almost nothing about this guy's background. Almost nothing. The other guy, he's got chronic illnesses that he's always fighting against. His wife has got some massive chronic illnesses that she's currently in the midst of fighting through. Adult kids, his son was in the Air Force, might still be in, I don't think so, I think he got out. But it's like, he's gone through some absolutely has gone through and is going through some absolutely terrible stuff. And you meet him and you just kind of take for granted that life is great. Because he's just that kind of guy. It's like he brings peace to a situation when he's there. You feel better just being around him, even when things are not going great. Well, it's really easy to forget that
his life isn't going great.
Life isn't always great. You can be great, even when life isn't. He's in the midst of some earthquakes, but the earthquakes in his past has built someone who, gave him the opportunity to become somebody other than who he is, and instead it turned him into a better version of himself. Part of that, it's like, earthquakes are going to happen. The kind of mountain you become is based on what you do with it. Sometimes you don't know that, and you're kind of tossed around, and you end up where you end up. And there's the dog saying hi again. But you can learn to see the chaos, feel the ground shake, and decide on what you're going to do with it. Like earthquakes usually, well, if something happens in an earthquake, it usually involves things collapsing. Mm-hmm. You can let it collapse on you, or you can let it collapse around you.
Yeah, this makes it sound as if it is the pretty thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and
it took the ugly earthquake.
And you see people that have made a success out of things, which it's talking about, it's like you see these big, strong, these strong people, strong in personality, potentially successful. And you're like, it's like, okay, what is it that built you? Well, the thing that built them is the same thing that broke somebody else.
Yeah, so true.
And the question isn't just necessarily, at least to me, one of the questions isn't what happened to you as much as what did you decide to do that took you from that to here. Like, yeah, the struggle built strength.
But there's always more than that.
But it's very rarely ever just strength. It's also character. And character will kind of define how you respond. So I think that's another, you can, like a lot of this stuff that we talk about, you know, there's the surface level of the statement or the, you know, you take it at face value. But there's always there's depth, even in things that seem obviously, you know, very shallow in concept. Sometimes you look, you can find depth where it isn't obvious.
Well, and for instance,
Might not even be intended.
like this saying, normally you hear about mountains, the hard thing, the bad thing,
mm-hmm.
right? And that's not necessarily what this is trying to portray.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they don't entirely coincide, but I do get the point. What darkness did you conquer in your story? Mountains do not rise without earthquakes.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to forget that everybody's gone through something. And it never hurts to ask. You know, it's like, okay, like, man, you've overcome stuff. You can tell because of where you're at, you've overcome some stuff. You know, like, what is it that you went through? How did you get here from there? You know, that's not a conversation you have with anybody, you know, everybody, casually. But it's you know, I think one of the reasons why biographies and autobiographies tend to sell so well is you have these larger than life people and personalities, and it's like, and everybody wants to know, how did you get there from where you started?
Oh, of course. No
or
more
even,
question.
or even, where did you start compared to where you are right now? And admittedly, I don't read a lot of that kind of stuff. I would very happily just have the paraphrased version. Give me the Cliff Notes version. I don't need all the specifics. Unless I find you extremely fascinating, then fine. But I like generalities more than... So give me the Cliff Notes version. And for those of you that are young, way younger, Cliff Notes was a company that made very short and condensed versions of topics for ease of study. It's like you take Crime and Punishment and turn it into like 6 pages.
And I think there's something called Spark Notes there for a minute.
Yeah.
And now they just call it highlights.
Yep. But, yeah, just put it out there.
It was an actual published thing.
Yes. It was an actual published thing that you could get at college bookstores and bookstores and the Cliff Notes. The Cliff Notes version. Like, yeah, again, you take War and Peace and turn it into 6 pages of information. And they became so popular that teachers would rewrite their exams so it only covered the things that weren't covered by Cliff Notes.
Dirty tricks. But
well, you know, it's like they actually wanted you to read the material and rather than just the generalities.
So
but
I went to tea. She had coffee. I went to a coffee place with a colleague this week, and very kind older woman.
Mm-hmm.
And
I meant to ask you about that.
Yeah, it was a lovely visit. Of course, she wants to ask more questions about me. She doesn't want to talk about herself.
Well,
We're
yeah.
counselors.
We're counselors. This is what you do.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
She's also, I believe, like 82, I believe. And when I'd asked her, her husband's been gone a while, quite some time. And she said that her husband had been gone nearly as long as they were married, but she did not give a number. Adult children, very successful grandchildren. This woman's been in the counseling world since before all the regulations and the certifications and the stuff and the things.
Grandma was grandfathered in.
Long time. But again, we didn't really get into all the details of all of it. Just a lovely conversation. And she wanted to know more about me because I'd made comments in our team meetings about different things. In particular, if it's so bright in there that I feel like my head's going to explode. One day I did ask for her to turn off the lights for me. Now, mind you, she's in one of the offices. It's like the wall of windows. Mm-hmm. So quite bright on top of having a light on. It was a little bit much. So, anyway, and just asking me questions and things. And I thought, oh, sure. Why not? Just get it all out there, shall we? She didn't even get all of it. It was just enough of the highlights, so to speak. And then she said, so where you are right now is quite the miracle. So I wouldn't know, looking at you, any of these things you're talking about. I just see joy all the time.
Well, you need to hang out a little more.
Watch it.
Hey, let's be honest. If you're exuding joy all the time,
now hold on.
You're faking it part of the time.
She is. She's an incredibly encouraging older woman.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm not saying you're a sad sack. I'm just saying it's like we have our bad days.
She sees smiles and laughter and a positive attitude. Maybe that's joy to her, because I do try to maintain that, especially at work when I'm, seeing clients the whole day. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine what she sees. I mean,
and I'm ribbing you a little. So,
I know you are. I do try to keep that armor on when I am present there, because I have to be present for my clients, right? But just in that right there, like, what you don't see, you don't know. Mm-hmm. What you don't know, you don't know. Mm-hmm. You can't see every illness. No. You can't see every struggle.
No.
And in fact, it happened again, even in that coffee shop with her. I could have just put on my sunglasses, actually, but I was facing the front parking lot with the glare coming off the cars in a beautiful sunny day, and you don't want to complain, but at the same time, I let it go until I felt like my eye was going to explode, and that, okay, can we trade? Either I'm going to sit here with my sunglasses, and you're not going to see half my face, or we can just trade and try it that way. But, I know it's not even just the line of work I'm in. You know it of people that go through stuff. You're not gonna hear the things and see the things and know all the things just by the smile on somebody's face that they manage to be able to put on, which I do more often than not. It's better than it used to be. I mean, it's not as if I struggle nearly as hard as I thought I would. However, I do appreciate what she's saying. Thank you. I do appreciate what she said. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Whatever. I don't know her story. I look forward to more times of talking and getting to know her and her story. And I know her husband was a teacher. Sounds like she's always worked in some line of counseling or case management.
That's cool.
Don't know. I mean, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it sounded like. But good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her. And then I asked her when she thought she stopped. And I don't know if she was kidding when she said 92. I don't know. I don't know. It was a very specific number.
Oh, that's funny.
So I really don't know.
It was pretty entertaining.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. I said I'm going to make it to 90. Now, working the whole time, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah, but admittedly, in the role of a counselor, a good chunk of your job is to listen and make people feel heard. That doesn't have an age limit.
You do have to be engaged, and it's true. You have to be able to focus and be on.
Sure. That's not, I mean...
But you're right. It's not terribly, like, physically involved. It's not... It's not super involved.
Yeah, I'm not going to be doing what I'm doing until I'm 90. Just not going to happen.
No, I wouldn't think so.
Nope.
No. I would not think that at all.
Not in the slightest.
But we come back around to the...
Sure.
Okay, maybe.
Sure.
I don't know. Unless you want to take a fork in the road. You want to squirrel it. Again, with this making the mountains sound like the good thing, right? And the earthquakes sound like the bad thing.
Well, I don't even necessarily... They might not be using the visual of the mountain as a good thing. They may be using the visual of the mountain as a representative of the strength, the underlying strength that came from it.
Sure.
You know.
Oh, my phone.
Phone noise.
I tried to open the picture back up so I can see the quote.
Yeah. No. That's the thing when you're using analogy. It's one of the reasons I like them is because a good analogy has multiple layers of depth. But they can be tricky because people can use those layers to take it in a direction you never intended, didn't mean, and so, I mean, mountains are gorgeous. Mountains are beautiful. Unless you're on foot and where you need to be is on the other side of them, and then it's an obstacle that needs to be overcome in and of itself.
Which is, the normal thing that you would read about in some inspiring quote.
Sure. Well, or the point is the mountain. Yeah. The old mountain climbing saying, which has an interesting history unto itself, but why you climb the mountain? Because it's there.
Because it's there.
Which was actually a sarcastic answer because nobody wanted to actually hear the actual answer he gave multiple times before that. But for some reason it stuck and it makes more sense than some of the actual answers that he gave. But, yeah, anyway.
When, no, I hear you. And it had just occurred to me that there's also different, the definition of strength could be subjective as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know when individuals have talked to me about thinking I was strong or something to that effect,
mm-hmm.
I don't always see it that way. And once in a while I might give myself credence in that way, but not terribly often.
Well, and it's not always, there's physical strength, which is usually easy to, it's easy to comprehend. Then
sure.
There's emotional strength. It's like I can, like if I was weaker, I'd fly off the handle. It's emotionally, it's like I'm stable when a lot of people would have broken. You got just mental strength. Like, yeah, this is an absolutely garbage situation, and I'm still going to tough it out and get through to the other side regardless. I could quit, I could run away. I'm not gonna keep driving through. And that's another part of it though, is sometimes you just don't have a freaking choice. It's either get through it or die. There's, I can curl up in
the corner.
Yeah. How'd that thing go? A brave man dies but once, but a coward dies 1,000 times. What was it? I want to say it was Ben Franklin, but I'm not positive on that one. That said something to the effect, all men die. Some but some die at 30 and are buried at 70.
Ooh, yeah. Walking Dead.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, you're going through the motions, but are you really living? You know, that, it's like, I mean, that same kind of connotation related to the thing. It's like, yeah, you're going to go through stuff regardless. You can be the example to others that it's like, I made it through this. Like, you probably can too. You can find those people that are on the top of the mountain and go, okay, you made it. If you made it, maybe I can make it too. I think a good chunk of fame in and of itself is not an issue. I think greed and fame put together and narcissistic tendencies all put together turn into just horrible things. But people who are famous for actually achieving, my brain's drawing a blank on
I'm sorry,
people
man.
I want to
Today
point out
is
right
just
now.
rough.
I'm
I'm just going to apologize now.
But, they can be an inspiration for those other people. It's like, if they got through this, I can get through this. You can, or
in a
I guess-
non-spiteful way, which is totally what I would hold on to, because
Sure.
that's who I am.
Well, you know what? Sometimes you need, it's like survive through spite. Oh no, this is not breaking me. Forget you. And drive on. Nope. Survive on spite. If that's what you've got, use it until you can find something that lasts longer. Like your grandma lived on spite.
Amazing.
But man, she was not having the whole time. You're fighting. You're surviving through spite. But you're not enjoying any of your life at all. You're just angry all the time. Wouldn't it be great to be 90 years old with a big smile on your face surrounded by people that enjoy your company? Wouldn't that be so much nicer than surviving on spite? Well, my grandkids only show up once in a while. That's because you're mean to them when they show up. Instead of having gratitude, you're mean, and angry, and spiteful. It's like, yeah, I get. It's like, no, this is not going to beat me in surviving on spite through a moment. But man, if you
Don't
live,
get wrong. It was memorable.
it was. And don't get me wrong, she's a tough woman. Tough woman. Actually, they both were tough women.
Yeah, they both were.
Very tough women. Very different, but very tough women. And yet you can look to them and go, they made it. There's a good chance I can make it too. There's something about those people that are survived the earthquake, built the mountain, and you can use them to inspire yourself. You can learn their path and see if it works for you, because you're not them, you're you. But you can use the general idea of, if they made it through it, I can make it through it. I might have to get through it a different way. So it might scar me different. I might have a different limp than they've got. But
That's a good way to put it.
yeah. Yeah. Anyway.
I know. This is it was just interesting. It was in my inspiring folder. And we could take it a lot of different ways. We are very blah right now. And I apologize now. This isn't as meaningful and in depth and all the things that it could be, and normally would be, but we're in a place. I don't know, man. Is it just over the winter doldrums? Is it? I know you haven't been feeling well.
I've been worse.
Thank God I have not been ill. But
I keep trying.
that's not funny.
It's a little funny.
No, because see, if I don't work, I don't get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I'm aware.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have the option of remote. I have.
If I'm capable, you're right.
Yep.
You're right about that. You're right.
And it's like you can be in your pajamas. All you gotta do is you put on a sweater, sit in your chair. You got a blanket over you and a cup of hot cocoa, and you sit in front of the screen and go. Tell me more about that.
Wow.
That seems
See,
very.
you minimize it so bad. It's so ridiculous. Now, technically, I have had a blanket on my lap. I have had cocoa in my cup, but I've not been in my pajamas. I have never been in my pajamas.
And I'm not saying you have. I'm just saying it's if need be, you can provide your service. You know what you do. You can give the help that you give. At least it's like, I'm not feeling so great. I might be contagious. I think it would be a better idea if we weren't face to face. Would you mind doing online?
You're right. I could do that. You're right.
It's an option for some people.
Half of my load right now is online.
See, so like me, I don't have that option. It's like I either show up to work and get crap done, or I got unplanned PTO I could use, but.
Yeah, that was nice of you to get that extra time off for your 7-year anniversary.
Sure. Yeah.
And we've got some things coming up that we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just visit family, long weekend trips,
Yep.
stuff like that.
I need to put in for that, by the way, but
Yeah.
Completely unrelated to anything going on, but no, and not trying to it's like I poke fun.
I know you do,
but it's. That is, the idea is, okay, let's explore your feelings. Let's explore what's going on.
But I do
and you know what?
On and focused and not totally
Yes.
miserable.
Misery's subjective.
Oh my gosh.
Misery's subjective.
You're right. Of course, the headache that I've heard that's accompanied this particular bug, because I've had clients call in the last few weeks as well. I hear it's not pleasant.
I've had worse.
I probably have too, to be honest.
It's like I can work through a lot. Headaches are rough.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I had some wicked facial pain this week, and whether or not that was my body telling me I was fighting something, or
Could
it
be.
was the weather.
Definitely could be.
This bizarre extremes of weather that we're hitting this wonderful time of year.
Well, and actually, in relation to the topic, a good chunk of what you do is help them figure out what the earthquakes were, and sometimes what you do to survive the earthquake makes it so you can't climb the mountain. So you help them evaluate how they survived the earthquake, and that worked for then. Now, how do we adjust that adaptation to now work so you can continue your journey? So tell me more about that. Let's explore that.
You just made that incredibly in depth and saved yourself from sounding, degrading about my profession.
I'm not trying to be, but that is, let's talk about that. That is the essence of counseling. Let's be honest.
It is.
Let's dive into that concept, that thing that you're feeling, that thing that you experience, that situation you're having a hard time with. Let's talk about that. Honestly and in a heartfelt manner, let's talk about that. Let's discuss that. Let's drive deep into that and figure out, you're having an issue. Let's figure out that dysfunction and turn it into a function.
I can always tell the clients, I want to say generational. Even if I know the age or not, or relative age, I can tell what they've been raised in and with, and that mindset of not talking about anything. Mm-hmm. I can tell when it's a Gen Zer or Gen Xer.
Well, with some of them, it's like, Mr. Rogers would very much like to help you with this. Keeping it to yourself would make Mr. Rogers sad.
And the Pit. That's another show we started watching. Sorry. You just reminded me of that. I just had my ADHD moment because one of the episodes talks about Mr. Rogers. Anyway,
Dude, Mr. Rogers was the man.
I just had my squirrel moment.
That's cool.
Squirrel.
That's cool. It's all good. It's all good. I understand completely.
But then there's a whole
Yeah, just
generation of
throw
kids that
stuff
don't
at
even
me.
know who Mr. Rogers is. That would be like our grandchildren are not going to know who Mr. Rogers is.
If our grandchildren do not know who Mr. Rogers is, it means I failed as a grandparent.
I don't know when it's on PBS. I imagine it is. It's
Dude,
just,
I guarantee
you know,
I can find it somewhere.
and I have to expose them. I have to be very intentional. I think we should call it.
I think we're good. I think we've taken it some places.
Oh my gosh.
You
I
know.
apologize. I just apologize. That's all I can say.
Oh, no,
Okay.
I think we had fun with it. I think we
I-
took it some places. We dug into it, you know, which is all we've ever said we were going to do.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to take a topic and we're going to drive down on it and see where it takes us.
The sun is shining and it is lovely, even though
It
it's
is.
quite cold.
Yes.
I'm doing this instead of cleaning out my backyard, so this is what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. It's cold
I
out
don't
there.
feel like functioning.
It'd be kind of nice if it was a little bit warmer.
I'll function later.
Sure.
It was much nicer to do this. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so
So,
here we are.
thanks for listening. Thanks for following us along.
And with that, I'm Fix It.
I'm Feel It.
We hope you join us in the future.
Until next week.
Y'all have a great one.